So I'm making meatballs, like I said, from scratch. So these aren't cooked thoroughly yet. These green and, well, it looks orange on camera, is green and red bell peppers, and this is chopped onion. So I take a sweet white onion or whatever onion you want to use, honestly, and I take the green bell pepper and the red and I chop it up. And what I do is I take that and I put it in a bowl like this. As you can see, it has the residue from the ground beef. You can use ground turkey too if you'd like. So what I do is I'll take like this much, I put it in here, then I take the ground beef and I throw it in there, and then I start mixing it all together, and that's how you get like all these things in there. So you mix them all together, and then I start seasoning it. So what I used was, I used the onion powder apparently this time, but you can use garlic powder as well. I used my adobo, of course, and then I put 2 packets of sazon goja, which is the little packets that I showed you guys in how I make my beans. And it comes in a pack of 20, and I used 2 little packets in it. And then, like I said, I mixed it in there really well. It's hard for me to show you what I mix in here and stuff because I need 2 hands, and I usually wear cooking gloves so that way I can mix it and it doesn't get like in my nails and stuff like that. Excuse this horrible nail. And then I put 1 egg, and I put just a little bit of milk. Then I put breadcrumbs in there. So like I said, I put a little bit of the milk in there, just a little, to give it some texture, and then with the breadcrumbs, and then it's just like so that it's not too dry and it's not too like squishy. You want it to be like in between. You don't want it to be too dry, and then the breadcrumbs just gives it, texture. So I did that. And then what I put in this pan, as you can see, some of the bell peppers will just fall out of while you're cooking it. So what I do is I put a little bit of olive oil just to coat the pan, and then I put all the meatballs in the pan, and I put it like on a, I want to say 7-8, so it's like more of a high heat. And then what I do is I let the outside cook just like this. But if I were to show you the inside, which I'm just not going to take it apart, but as you can see, like this one, it's not cooked completely inside. So you just want to coat the outside, and you flip them around so that all around it's pretty much cooked. See right here, perfect. See, that's raw meat right there. Okay, so like I said, you're really just cooking the outside for the time being, and then you're left with this sauce with a few of the bell peppers. And this right here has flavor in itself because this is what was fried in the meatball, so it's gonna taste so good. So now what I do is I grab my tomato sauce and I grab my sofrito. So now what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna add a little bit of tomato sauce in this oil and a little bit of the sofrito, and then I'm gonna put a packet of sazon, and you'll see that it's gonna become a really nice sauce that we're gonna put the meatballs in, and it's gonna look so good. Okay, so as you can see, it's warming up, and now I take the heat and I put it on like a medium low, so between 4 and 5 for my stove. And I'm gonna put just because I have this much left, I'm just gonna put this tomato sauce in there. So just about this much is good. So I'm gonna put that tomato sauce in there, and then once again, this same spoon that I always use, and I'm gonna put this much sofrito in there. Okay, and now I'm gonna take the rest of this, because I chopped some to the side, and I take this and I'm just gonna throw it in here as well. And this is gonna make such a nice sauce. It's gonna taste amazing. So I'm just gonna mix that in completely. Sorry for the shadow. There we go. Now what I do is I put in the pack of sazon. There we go. So I put this whole pack in there, and now I'm gonna mix it all around. It smells so freaking good. So this is the sauce that I make for the meatballs. Just like that. So I'm gonna let this just sear a little bit. Once I see that it starts to like bubble and like fry basically and marinate in there and stuff like that. Once I see that happening, then I put the meatballs back in there, and I'm gonna add a little bit of water, and then like a cup of water, and then I'll put the meatballs in there and I'll cover it, and all of that is just gonna boil in, and this juice right here, this sauce that I made is gonna go into that meatball, and it's gonna give it like the best taste ever. Like, I'm not lying to you guys, this is one of Angel's favorite dishes that I make for him. He loves them. There was a point in time where he was having me make this for him like every single day because he loved it. Like, really enjoyed this. So keep mixing it. And as you can see, it's starting to sizzle. You see the bubbles, it's starting to sizzle now. So I'm gonna wait for it to go a little stronger, and then, like I said, I'm gonna add the cup of water. Okay, so you see the smoke coming up, and you see now it's sizzling strong, and then it gets more fragrant. You'll notice it'll get more fragrant. You smell the tomato sauce, you smell the seasonings in here, you smell the sofrito. It's so good. And then once you mix it around, I tend to mix it around, and I see how quickly it starts steaming again and bubbling up really quickly like that. So that's how I know that you want these vegetables to, you know, to cook in a little bit into the sauce and everything before you just dump in the water and then the meatballs. You want it to be really fragrant in here, and it is. You see it sizzling a lot and stuff like that. So you pretty much are noticing that these vegetables are being cooked in really well. So now that it's steaming and it's bubbling and it's like frying and whatever and marinating and everything like that, now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take just a cup of water, like I said. Sorry, I was tilting it. A cup of water. I throw it in there. Just a cup of water is all you need. And now I'll add in the meatballs. And you can make these meatballs as big or as little as you want them to be. Today I made them smaller than I usually make them, as you can see, because I'm gonna be pairing it with spaghetti. I usually pair it with white rice because then you put the sauce on the white rice and oh my god, it's delicious. But today I'm pairing it with spaghetti as per Angel's wishes. So I put this in here. Okay, so now that it's in here, I'm gonna take this heat and I'm gonna put it in between a 6 and a 5, so like closer to a medium high heat, and you're just gonna leave it there. So now we're gonna just cover it, okay, and we're gonna leave it in there and we're gonna let it boil. You see how it's steaming obviously already, and we're gonna let this boil. And once you hear it boil really well, you want to flip those meatballs so that way all over the top, these top ones that haven't been soaked into that delicious sauce, you want that, you want to flip it over so those can be soaked into that sauce as well. And then, you know, you pretty much can tell when the meatball is done, because you just basically want to wait until the inside of the meatball is fully cooked. So you want to get that sauce into there, and that is it. So now, since it started boiling, as you can see, I'm gonna go ahead and start flipping them over. And then once we flip them over and you see that they're all coated into this nice sauce, then we cover it, and we do pretty much like a guesstimation of how long they'll be in there for, or they'll need to be in there for, so they can cook through. And you pretty much can tell when they're pretty cooked through. You can just pretty much tell they don't need that much time because they're pretty much cooked as it is right now, but you just want to have them go into that sauce. So like I said, now that we flipped them, I have it on a 5 heat, which is medium heat. I'm gonna cover it again, let it cook. I'm gonna put my pasta on the stove, my spaghetti on the stove, and then pretty much just let it cook. And then once I feel that they're cooked through, then I'll just turn it off. So I will be back to show you guys the end result of what they look like. Okay, so really quick, I just wanted to show you guys that because I feel like they're pretty much cooked through, I could just pretty much tell that they're pretty much cooked through. I'm gonna take the heat, I'm gonna take the heat from a 5 and I'm just gonna put it on low. So we can leave it there on low, so that way it doesn't overcook and it'll keep it warm. So we're just gonna keep it on low until the spaghettis are ready, and you know pasta gets done super quick. So I have my pot here full of water so I can make my pasta. So I just wanted to add that really quick before I showed you guys the final look. Okay, so this is the end result of the meatballs, and I put the pasta, that's the pasta I paired it with, but you could do this with like white rice. That's Angel's plate, and what do you think?
Oh yeah, baby.
That's it, guys. That's how I make my meatballs from scratch. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Comment below if you have any questions, or if you have made these before. If you do end up making these, please let me know. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified when I put up a video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next how-to video. Bye.